I reached Grandmaster rank in 24 games playing 4-player fixed card games. 22 wins and 2 losses. In this video I'm going to show you how I managed to do that, highlighting each of the games. So without further ado, let's get started. The first game. South American Turtle Strategy. The strategy when instead of guarding your borders you put your troops to one big army in Peru territory. You ally with your neighboring players and hope that they will leave you alone while crushing each other's troops. In this game the orange and green players were putting a lot of pressure on each other by building a huge armies next to each other. So obviously one of them eventually had to lose the game. And that unlucky player was orange. So after he was eliminated, the green and purple players were trying to expand their lands. And that was a really good view to see. When you're a passive player and do nothing, it couldn't be better for you when your two opponents are trying to expand themselves, meaning that sooner or later they will have to attack each other. So having that in mind, I just keep turtling in South America and watching the world burn, waiting till the moment when they crush themselves so much that I'll have the same number of troops as both of them combined. And didn't have to wait very long. As soon as the green player drastically crushed the purple player, I knew that it was my time to shine. To be totally safe and get a guaranteed victory, I used South America plus North America endgame strategy, and it worked out perfectly well. The second game. I used the European turtle strategy along with slightly guarding my borders. The yellow player had Africa, the blue player Australia, and the purple player both of the Americas. At one point of the game the yellow player decided that he had enough and decided to suicide on me and purple. After that I recaptured Europe and additionally captured Africa. The purple player recaptured both of the Americas. And the blue player captured Asia. The blue player started attacking purple into North America, but since the purple player was weak, he couldn't retaliate. The purple player was building his troops into one big army in Brazil. So I decided to move my 8 troops from the North Africa territory, so he could potentially decide to invade the blue player into Asia. But unfortunately he just only invaded me, lol. Whatever I thought, the game continued with me having Europe. But the blue player was growing strong, so I decided to invade the blue player by myself. And actually the blue player didn't get mad to invade me back, so that was really awesome. Or maybe he was just afraid of my biggest army. But then the purple player captured Africa and North America, so that was bad. I thought that the blue player might attack him, but he didn't. But the purple player wasn't as nice, he invaded blue into Asia. But yet again the blue player didn't get mad at all and didn't attack purple into any of his unguarded continents. Well, actually not, he quickly changed his mind and started attacking purple. So from then, I started invading the purple player as well, into North America. And eventually I even managed to capture it. To my surprise I was able to hold it successfully low. None of the players have attacked me. When eventually the purple player decided to suicide on blue. Even though I had way more troops than enough to take them out, I decided to let them fight it out. But the blue player didn't realize that the game was totally over and didn't take the purple player out, while the purple player was still attacking blue. The purple player got a little bit stronger and attempted to take the blue player once again. Unsuccessfully though. Twice. The blue player traded in a set and captured Australia. And since I captured South America, their powers were more or less equalized. And actually the blue player withholding Australia even took the advantage over purple. So yeah, eventually the blue player prevailed and took the purple player out. And after the second place winner has been decided, without waiting any longer I finished the game. Keep in mind that this game was played a few months ago in April. If I had this situation once again, then instead of letting players fight it out, I would take the purple player out first now. He was the one who succeeded, so I would give him the last available place. The third game, I was the lucky player who got a continent first. After getting South America I was looking to expand to Africa and maybe even to North America too. But my opponents, orange and blue, quickly noticed that and started attacking me, taking a bunch of my territories. so I realized that I have to back out and forget my plan of expanding, as otherwise it would go wrong for me. So I just had to be satisfied with South America only. I was doing turtling strategy, but instead of building my troops to Peru, I built them in Brazil since there were no African players which I could intimidate. After the orange player captured North America, I was really interested to see what happens. Since they both attacked me before, I thought they had alliance and that the blue player won't attack orange, but actually he did. And then the conflict between them has been started, which was intensified with each and every single turn. So when I saw that I finally have the same number of troops as both of them combined, I wasn't waiting anything more and started crushing them. And that was another successful victory. The fourth game. I was lucky to get Europe early in the game, and instead of turtling in it, I decided to properly guard my borders and look for possible opportunities to increase my advantage. I didn't have to wait too long. I noticed that I can take the orange player out of the game, the fourth player who isn't really needed in the game. The balance of the game can be perfectly balanced with 3 players. So after taking the orange player out, I relocated myself to South America, and then quickly captured Africa as well. I was able to hold both of them successfully. Then my ally Yellow decided to capture Asia. I decided to be nice and not to invade him, but just simply capture North America, so the blue player wouldn't attack into my continents possibly, seeing that I'm getting too strong. But the yellow player wasn't that nice of an ally and invaded me into both of the Americas. And that was actually a smart move. But I quickly recaptured them, invaded yellow into Asia, and held all 3 of the continents once again. I have no idea why players didn't even invade one of them. That was a very satisfying match, I must admit. I was getting closer to the moment when I have more troops than both of them combined. And the yellow player, seeing that, fortified his army next to blue and was ready to suicide. But then the blue player stopped being neutral and attacked me into my continents, and that made to change the yellow's mind. He started attacking me as well. But oh well, I noticed that after attacks I was still almost having as many troops as both of them combined, so keeping in mind that the balanced blitz will favor me blitzing my opponent troops and that I will get some cards after taking blue, I decided to risk it and go with my plan of potentially taking both of them out. And actually it went way much better than I thought. The yellow player had no chances in the endgame. The 5th game. Probably the most boring game on this account, at the same time the longest one if I'm right. It'd end up in a stalemate situation, with me having Europe, the yellow player Africa and Australia, the orange player putting his troops to one big army, and the blue player being a bot. But fortunately I prevailed the yellow player from holding Africa. Well, actually not, I've got invaded into Europe as well. But yeah, I recaptured it, and with the blue bot invading yellow into Africa, the yellow player had to say a goodbye to it. But then the orange player captured South America. He didn't crush the bot's troops, he was smarter than that. He moved out from it, and then after the bot capturing South America and moving out the troops from it as well, the orange player got to capture it very easily. And it was a stalemate situation once again. And then happened this. The orange player have had enough of this game. But even after the orange player suiciding on me, I still had more troops than yellow. And to my surprise he was dumb enough to crush a lot of troops on the bot, But still I was playing as safe as I could. I wanted to be sure that I'm winning the game for sure, not potentially the bot if I take the yellow player out. So yeah, eventually I won this game as well. But to be honest, I'm not even sure if the yellow player realized that he was playing with a bot. As even having quite less troops than me, he was still trying his best to invade me, and before that he was attacking some big armies of the bot as you saw. And then I guess that he got mad on the blue bot that he wasn't helping him at all and decided to suicide on him. Unsuccessfully though, but I decided to be nice and still give the second place for him. After this game the intermediate rank was reached. The 6th game. I've got unlucky and had not continent at all. The orange player didn't let me to conquer North America, so I was just forced to build my troops to one big army. In this game the yellow and blue players were drastically expanding. The blue player captured Australia and Asia, and the yellow player Africa and Europe. But that was actually good that they could balance each other, but surprisingly the yellow player quickly left the game and became a bot, and to my even bigger surprise the orange player wasted her troops on the bot. It was a terrible decision, as after that the blue player had more troops than me and orange combined, and with having Asia he was having a tremendous advantage. So I had no other choice but to invade him. Then to my surprise he decided to take the yellow bot out of the game instead of orange. So it was a bit of relief, but not so much since it seemed as I was the next blue's target. But then the orange player made the best possible decision for me. She blitzed blue's army and it saved my life. So the blue player went for orange instead. He took the orange player out and had all the chances to win, but he made the biggest mistake of his life by leaving his army in block place to guard Australia. Surprisingly he was dumb to leave that army blocked once again. So I recaptured continents and it gave me the advantage. Then he realized that he must fortify his army out of block place, but it was too late. I took over the advantage and beat him easily. That was a very satisfying victory as I won in a losing situation. The blue player was the player who was supposed to win this game, but he totally blundered it. The 7th game. In that game I was using the European turtle strategy, while the yellow player had Australia, the blue player South America and Africa, and the purple player was trying to capture North America, but his attempt went very wrong for him. The blue player eliminated him quickly. Then I decided to stay very passive as I was and continue turtling, hoping that the players will deal with themselves. At first they didn't attack each other too much, but with the time they did. The conflict was getting more and more intense when the yellow player decided that she had enough of this game and succeeded on blue. So the victory was given away for me. I finished taking both of the players out very easily. The 8th game. I've got South America, the blue player Africa, the yellow player Australia, and the orange player had nothing, so he decided to quit. And to my surprise the blue player left the game then as well. So that gave me the opportunity to expand to North America, which I gladly took it. No surprise it got invaded by yellow, but since he moved his troops back I recaptured and hold it. The yellow captured Asia then, and I saw that he was after the bot, so I decided to let him hold just for fun. But even if after holding it he had decided to invade me, I would still have won the game, so I just wanted to see what happens. And yeah, the yellow player decided to take out the blue bot out. That was a smart decision. He saw that he cannot win against me, so he guaranteed himself the 2nd place instead of the 3rd one. As why it would make sense to give away the ranking points for the disconnected player while losing ranking points by yourself. The 9th game. In this game I had North America, the yellow player South America, the purple player Europe, and the blue player Australia. Since the yellow player was the only one who hadn't accepted my alliance request, I was building a huge counterattack army in eastern United States in case he attacks me. Anyways, the purple player saw the opportunity that she can take the blue player out and she went with it. It was kinda risky though. She could have failed the blitz rolls, but as you can see she succeeded. Obviously neither I nor yellow could take the purple player after that, as the game would just have been given away for another one. Then the yellow player captured Africa and invaded purple into Europe. But the purple player didn't invade yellow into Africa, she captured Asia instead. But the purple player invaded her into Asia as well. Again and again. Until the purple player got quite a big army. Then the yellow player decided not to be aggressive anymore. Everything ended up with the yellow player successfully holding South America and Africa, and the purple player Australia and Asia. I didn't like that the game ended up in a stalemate situation at all. So I started thinking of ways on what should I do what the game would be alive once again. I was very passive during the entire game, so I decided that it was my time to attack. And I did so. I invaded the purple player into Asia and took Australia from her, and that the attack wouldn't look so much one-sided, I invaded the yellow player into Africa as well. I decided to use the always move to Australia to win at risk strategy, in which you take Australia from another player and forcing him go for another continent. It especially could work well if that Australian player already had the conflict with the third player. Obviously not instantly, since the Australian player will be mad on you for some time, but then the conflict could be forgotten, and that player could get into a fight with the third player. So this one I think happened. The purple player was very protective against me, but I specially made my army blocked so the purple player wouldn't see any threat coming from me anymore. So eventually the purple player decided to fortify her army to Europe on Southern Europe territory. The yellow player didn't appreciate it, and invaded purple into Europe, but the purple player didn't like it as well, and invaded yellow into Africa. The yellow player was scared that the purple player is going to invade him into South America as well, so he strengthened his army. And then the purple player potentially thought that the yellow player is looking forward to take her out, so she decided to suicide on him. So my strategy of going to Australia has worked out. I expected them to get very mad on each other eventually, and that's exactly what happened. Well, less or more. I thought that it will be way more turns of them attacking each other until I have more troops than both of them combined, but it happened very quickly with the purple player straightly suiciding on yellow. It was the game after which I reached the expert rank. The 10th game. Probably the most intensive game of them all, and you will see why. In this game I had Australia, the yellow player Europe, and the green player decided to capture both of the Americas. The yellow player wasn't satisfied of green getting lots of stuff, so he decided to invade green into North America. I thought that it will be a major conflict between them going on, so I was just targeting the orange bot until I finally took it out. But it didn't end up being the smartest decision ever, as it gave the perfect opportunity for the yellow player to expand and almost get the unstoppable position. I tried to invade him, but unfortunately the luck when it was the mostly needed for me, disappeared. I failed invading yellow, so I fortified my whole army from Australia to try invading yellow again. I couldn't rely on the green alone. I wanted to be absolutely sure that if the yellow player doesn't get invaded this turn, then he would get invaded the next turn for sure. It would have just been stupid to let the yellow player win the game so easily. But fortunately enough, the green player had a set and invaded yellow into both of his continents. So the game was more or less equal once again. But then the yellow player decided to crush one of his armies into green, which was perfectly fine, as it made the game very balanced. And then another army into me, which was the most stupid decision ever, as it totally ruined the balance of the game into the green player's favor. But fortunately enough, the yellow player still had a common sense and attacked green into his continents. And after trading in a set as well, I moved my army to North America so the green player wouldn't be able to recapture it. But the green player put a big army next to me. I knew that he might want to take me out, so I started attacking him as much as I could afford to, so he wouldn't get many extra troops. But then another problem has occurred. The green player decided to be totally passive, simply blocking his army and not attacking anyone. So the yellow player took the advantage of this situation. So I had to attack him into Africa and move out of North America. And then the position between yellow and green got quite equal, with me still being the weakest player. And at this point I didn't have a set when it was mostly needed, so I thought the game ended for me over here. The yellow player traded in a set and attempted taking me out. But that was one unlucky blitz roll of the yellow player which saved my life. After that I traded in a set and took the unguarded Australia from him. Then the green player blitzed his biggest army, and that was the biggest relief I could have gotten, as I knew that the yellow player won't be able to suicide on me in case he got very mad once again. Anyways, then everything ended up with me back and forth attacking the green player, and the yellow player being neutral. Eventually we stopped fighting and situation ended up with me having Australia plus Africa, the green player both of the Americas, and the yellow player Europe. It was going like this for a while until the yellow player starting building a big army next to green and finally invading him. Then I decided to invade the green player as well, and that made the green player quit. So I had a very close endgame with the yellow player in which in the end I successfully prevailed. It was one of the most satisfying games I have played ever. Got almost killed multiple times, but no matter, everything still ended up winning the game. The 11th game, I had Australia, the yellow player South America and the green player wanted to capture North America, but the yellow player prevented that of happening. The blue player was a bot. Eventually the bot got stronger, so the yellow player couldn't prevent the green player of capturing North America and instead being focused on the bot. So invaded the green player by myself, and then the yellow player as well. The green player couldn't capture North America anymore, and to my surprise she decided to totally block the yellow player into South America. Lol. I'm not sure whether the green player was looking to suicide on yellow after trading in a set or not. So by seeing that I have the same number of troops as both of my real opponents combined, I decided to take the green player out by myself, along with capturing North America and fortifying my biggest army to use against yellow. Then very fortunately for me, the yellow player decided to invade into North America by going through even 22 troops army of the blue bot. That was very satisfying, I must admit. Then I traded in a set and took the yellow player out. Fortunately enough, the luck was on my side that day. And after that I had no problems dealing with the blue bot as well. The 12th game, the game with Australia addicted master called Orange. Every turn Han was trying his best to take Australia from the green player instead of just simply going for Africa. So the orange player got destroyed quickly and was eliminated from the game. In this game the green player was having Australia, the blue player Africa, and I captured both of the Americas. But very quickly the blue player expanded and captured Europe as well, so she would be balancing me. So then I had the decision point of what should I do. Should I betray and attack blue, or should I let her hold continents and be equally strong? And I decided to go with the first option, to not let the blue player grow as strong as I. And surprisingly the blue player didn't invade me back. She just captured Europe. But I decided to stay being aggressive and invaded her once again. Then the green player captured Asia, and I decided to betray him as well. Why would I let anyone to grow strong as well? But the green player strongly retaliated by invading both of the Americas. He fortified his troops back though, so I recaptured them easily. But the most hilarious thing which was happening then, is that the blue player was skipping all of her turns. Just simply wasting the whole 60 seconds to do nothing. It said she was online though. So it must have been the worst attempt to pretend being disconnected ever. So keeping that in mind, I wasn't in a rush to destroy green, as I knew that whenever the green player will be destroyed, the blue player will stop pretending being inactive and comes back to the game. So the green player noticed a sneaky blue's plan as well. He fortified his whole army next to blue to take her out. But surprise surprise, the blue player then started attacking once again. So the green player changed his plan to attack me as well. But the biggest mistake of him was to fortify his whole army back to the blocked place in Australia. So I saw that I can take the blue player out and use the 4 continents endgame strategy against green. And it worked out very well. The green player stood no chance against me at all. The 13th game. In this game I had Europe, the blue player North America, the green player Australia, and the purple player Africa and South America. I along with blue were just simply turtling in our continents, while the purple player was keeping a lot of pressure on the green player. It really seemed he was going to take him out very soon. So it was a total surprise to me when the blue player decided to fortify his biggest army next to purple. I didn't understand the reason behind it. What was the purpose for him to irritate purple? Then purple was about to take another player out. So the blue player's plan really backfired him. The purple player fortified his army next to blue's biggest army to protect the continents. And what was shocking, is that the purple player blitzed blue's biggest army. That made the blue player quit. Then the green started attacking me and purple almost every single turn. It wasn't the best decision ever though, as it led me became considerably stronger than both of my opponents. I took the green player out then. After taking him out, I didn't attack purple, I attacked the blue bot instead. Since blue was a bot, I was planning to give the purple player the second place, but because the purple player betrayed and attacked me in obviously losing situation, I took him out first. It was the game when I reached the master rank. I reached the master rank playing 4-player fixed card games with no losses playing opponents of mine or higher rank, and this is quite an achievement I'm really proud of. The 14th game. In this game the orange player got eliminated quickly. The whole situation ended up of me having both of the Americas, the yellow player Australia and the blue player Europe. That the blue player wouldn't get as strong as me, I kept one of my armies on the territory of North Africa, so the blue player wouldn't be able to go for Africa. Differently, I wanted to get Africa for myself. And I did so. But that made the blue player to betray me and attack into both of the Americas. In response, I invaded the blue player into Europe and recaptured both of the Americas. And in that response the blue player crushed one of my biggest armies and took over South America. Then I just put my remaining army to North America, and since the blue player didn't leave many troops to South America, I took it from him. But then the blue player put his biggest army next to me, and I wasn't sure if he was serious about potentially preparing to attack me. But what I knew is that if the blue player crushes my army, then the game will be even out for the yellow player, so in order to prevent that of happening I fortified my army back. Then he made an alliance with me. The yellow player was still attacking me into North America, while letting the blue player hold both of his continents. But eventually the yellow player noticed that it wasn't the best idea to focus only on me while letting the blue player grow strong. So he made an alliance with me and stopped attacking me at all. He decided to go for Asia. But I still wasn't able to hold North America as the blue player was invading me. But finally he decided to attack and crush a lot of troops on the yellow player as well. Then happened this, I along with the yellow player decided to team up against blue. Everything ended up of the blue player suiciding on yellow. So the blue player had to get his well-deserved third place, while the yellow player was rewarded with the second. The 15th game. I had North America and was using North American turtle strategy. The orange player had Europe, the blue player South America, and the yellow player Australia. The orange player was constantly from time to time invading me into North America and looking for the problems, so I decided to take him out. At that point the blue player had almost as many troops as I and yellow player combined, so he decided to take me out. But what he didn't realize that he doesn't have enough time to do so, he was way too slow. So I've got to survive. Surprisingly, in the next turn he crushed the biggest yellow army and invaded him into all of the 3 continents. So that really equalized the position between all of us 3. The yellow player was the unlucky person who got eliminated first. So it was the endgame between me and blue. It was a very close endgame, but I always got to stay in the lead, so eventually I prevailed and won the game. I managed to make 15-win streak playing 4-player fixed card games playing with the players who have higher or the same rank as me. The 16th game. The green player was that unlucky person who got eliminated first. Then the game ended up in a quite stalemate situation, with me having Europe, the blue player both of the Americas, and the yellow player Australia and Africa. Since the blue player wasn't that much guarding against me like his 2 other borders, the yellow player from time to time was attacking him through my Europe. But eventually he stopped doing that. He started from time to time to only invade me. I didn't like the boring stalemate situation like this and decided to attack the blue player into North America, so he wouldn't get too strong, and that the attack wouldn't be that much one-sided. In the next turn I invaded yellow into Africa as well. Then I moved out from North America and captured Europe again. Obviously I wasn't able to hold it. Always either yellow or blue were invading me. Eventually I've got the opportunity to take over South America. But then the blue player combined his troops to one big army and was keeping that army next to me. Not totally sure if he was looking to suicide on me, but I decided not to risk. I moved out of South America and let him have it. Then I captured North America and specially didn't added any troops to guard against him. I wanted to stop being enemies with him. But the blue player didn't want that. He invaded me and left his army there. Then I fortified the same sized army as his, showing that I want to capture and hold North America, that I just want to hold it and that's it. That I don't want a war with him, as if I wanted to attack him then I would have just fortified my whole army next to his. But anyways, the blue player was still clearly showing that he won't let me capture North America, so I just gave up on it and started building troops to two big armies having nothing. The blue and yellow players made an alliance and didn't attack each other for eternity of turns. Until the yellow player decided to invade blue into Africa. After he done that, the blue player instead of invading him back or just simply recapturing Africa, decided to take one of my armies down. And that was the most idiotic decision ever, as the yellow player even before that, was the strongest of us all. Then the yellow player invaded blue into Africa again. So the blue player combined his armies into one. And in the next turn he put that very big army next to me. And then just succeeded. And that was really disappointing I must admit. The yellow player obviously won this game. Here came my first loss on this account ever. My winning streak was broken. The 17th game. I had Australia, the blue player Africa, the orange player South America, and the yellow player had no continent at all. Soon enough she was eliminated by orange. Then orange invaded me into Asia, and I invaded blue into Europe. The blue player invaded and took South America from orange, but gladly let him still hold North America. But the orange player got really mad and invaded blue into both of his continents. Then the blue player moved out of South America, and the orange player invaded him into Africa and captured as many blues territories as possible. The balance of the game was absolutely broken. I had more troops than both of them combined. And because the orange player was the one who broken the balance, I took him out first, giving the second place for the blue player. The 18th game. I had South America, the blue player Europe, the yellow player Australia, and the orange player was undeciding whether he wanted to go for Africa or North America. Eventually he decided to go for Africa. Wait, no. He moved out of it to Asia. So I captured Africa. The yellow player invaded me though. But I quickly found the way how to overcome it. I put my army to the Middle East territory and didn't guard my other African borders. The only way for yellow to invade me was going through the blue player. But the yellow player decided not to, he was building a big army next to me instead. The orange player captured North America and it was totally fine with me. Well, until he decided to fortify his biggest army next to me, then I decided to attack him. I prevented the orange player of having North America, but couldn't hold Africa anymore. Then the yellow player captured Asia, and the blue player invaded it. The yellow player recaptured it, so the blue player invaded it again. And then the yellow player started invading the blue player into Europe as well. Eventually the blue player found out the way how to prevent the yellow player of invading her. Well, not really. There was one more unguarded border, from which the yellow player invaded blue once again. So the blue player lost of her nerves and just decided to take the yellow player out. And that was the biggest mistake ever. And it just totally gave me the game. After taking the orange player out I was able to use the 4 continents endgame strategy, and the yellow and blue players hadn't any chances to win anymore at all. The 19th game. The green player had Australia, the orange player Africa, and I had South America. Well, until the yellow bot invaded me, lol. Then I made the risky decision to capture North America, but it went very wrong for me. I became very weak and could have gotten eliminated anytime soon. But thank God the yellow bot moved out of North America, so then I trapped him into South America. Trading set after set becoming stronger, eventually I was able to capture North America. But then the yellow bot crushed one of the biggest orange's armies, and the green player captured Asia. I was thinking whether should I invade him or not, but before I could even make my decision, he was straightly invaded by orange. The green player then should have invaded me into North America or stay neutral, but instead of that he decided to suicide on orange. After he did that, I immediately took him out in a single turn. and then had no problems finishing dealing with the yellow bot as well. The 20th game. I had Australia, the yellow player Europe, the green player South America. And the blue player was that unlucky person who had no continent at all. Eventually the green player captured North America as well. He was holding it for a couple of turns, until the yellow player invaded it. But then the green player invaded yellow into Europe. The yellow player then got very mad and invaded green into South America, at the same time crushing green's biggest army. At that point the balance of the game was almost broken. The green player then invaded yellow to Europe, the blue player captured South America, and the yellow player, after trading in a set, decided to kamikaze himself on green and blue. The game was given away for me. Since the yellow player totally ruined the game, I took him out first. Then green and finally blue. The 21st game. I was Sterling in South America and the orange player in Africa. The blue player had Europe and was trying to guard all of his borders properly. The yellow player had Australia and was trying to expand to Asia. Some turns later, the blue player tried to prevent that of happening, and it seemed there might be a potential conflict going on between him and yellow, until the orange player decided to intervene and crush some of the troops of yellow. It was totally unnecessary, as the blue and yellow players were equally strong and absolutely could take care of each other. One turn after, the orange player fortified his biggest army next to Australia and probably wanted to capture it. But it wasn't destined to happen, as the yellow player decided to suicide on orange. It was very bad, as it seemed that the game was given away for blue. I was predicting that, so I fortified my biggest army out of blocked place to prepare for the endgame with the blue player. And I was right, the blue player took both of these players out. After they had done so, he still had quite more troops than me, so I had no chance against him. I had to be satisfied with the second place, which still gave me the ranking points. Here came my second and the last loss on this account. The 22nd game. In which the green player wanted to go for Australia, but it wasn't destined to happen, as the blue player drastically and successfully and immediately cleared out her from it. The green player could still gone for South America, but she straightly decided to quit. Her bot was quickly eliminated. Then the yellow player got to hold South America and Africa, Europe, and the blue player Australia. Then the blue quickly captured North America as well. He was keeping pressure on yellow, so of course I didn't invade him. But the yellow player didn't invade him as well. The blue and yellow players were keeping big armies on their American borders next to each other. Until the yellow player decided to take Australia from blue. The blue player got really mad and crushed yellow's biggest army, at the same time invading him not only to South America, but to Africa as well. The balance of the game was totally broken, so I just invaded the players into their continents and pulled my army out of the blocked place. The players then decided to team up on me, but obviously their efforts went in vain. They couldn't stop me from winning anyhow. Since the blue player was the person who ruined the balance of the game, I decided to take him out firstly, and give the second place for the yellow player. The 23rd game, in which I've got Europe, the blue player Australia, the orange player nothing, and the yellow player was a bot which got South America. Very quickly the blue player additionally captured North America, and it was very bad. The blue player invaded bot into South America, so the bot wasn't a problem for him anymore, but the bot invaded me into Europe, and it was really big problem for me. I had an alliance with blue, but I just couldn't let him dominate the game like that, so invaded blue into North America, leaving one of my armies in it. Then the blue player captured South America, which was quickly invaded by orange after I fortified my troops back to Europe. The blue player moved out of South America and the orange player finished capturing it. I captured Africa, but the blue player invaded it. I didn't leave Africa unguarded anymore and put some troops on the borders. The blue player then moved out to North America to prevent the orange player of capturing it. He kept his army here all the time, which was probably a very good decision since it didn't let the orange player to become too strong. But the orange player was very craving for North America, so she fortified one of her armies to take down blue's troops. The blue player then invaded her. The orange player still stuck to the plan and cleared the blue player out. I didn't attack orange, because I didn't want that the blue player would attack me in case I capture South America as well, and I was also hoping that the blue player might want to revenge and attack the orange player by himself, if I don't attack the orange player by myself. But that didn't happen, so I had a decision point of what should I do. I decided to betray the orange player and invaded her into North America and the same time capturing South America for myself. Thank God the blitz rolls were successful. And since the blue's army was blocked, I liked my situation even more. I really expected to be invaded by the orange player though, but she just decided to become very passive and move out to Asia. That was the best possible outcome that could have happened to me. I had the same number of troops as both of them combined, so I knew that I almost won. I wasn't even afraid to expand to North America quickly as well. The orange player then just decided to suicide on blue. I felt very bad for blue, but at the same time I was very happy as I was getting very close to the Grandmaster rank and I thought that maybe it might be it. But no, I still was at the Master rank. So I had to play another game. So this is the final or the 24th game, in which I had Australia, the blue player South America and Africa, the orange player North America, and the yellow player was that unlucky person who got no continent at all. He wanted to go for Europe, but the blue player didn't let him do that. The blue and orange players were really enjoying their alliance as you can see. And that the strongest players refused to attack each other or do something else, then the game really ends up in a stalemate situation. Thank God the orange player eventually quit, as the orange bot started building a huge army on the blue's border and expand as much as it can. Eventually the blue player decided to move out of South America as probably he was afraid that the bot sooner or later could crush his army. The blue player then decided to take the yellow player out. I couldn't really take the blue player out, but I didn't really want anyways, as the bot would have won the game then by being so strong. The blue player started attacking the orange bot for a little bit, so I started attacking the orange bot for a little bit as well, as I was stronger than blue anyways. I thought that the blue player maybe wants to play for the second place and I was ready to gladly give it to him. I didn't really want for the bot to win the game, so I just wanted to see where everything will lead me. The blue player captured North America, and of course I invaded it. I wasn't dumb enough to let him hold it. The blue player stopped attacking the orange player from then. And actually he came with a very smart decision of clearing me of his way out, so I would become blocked into Australia. Then I thought I screwed it up so badly. Wow, just wow. I was so close to the Grandmaster rank, and it might be the last needed victory, but there's very possible that I might get third place now. Well, either third or second, depending on which player the bot decides to take out first. I really thought that the blue will get eliminated first, but he was smart enough to move out to the place where his army would be bordering with even 4 different territories of orange, while I was bordering with only 2 territories of orange. So the bot armies next to me was growing way bigger. I realized that the bot is firstly going to take out me, but I couldn't blitz one of the orange's armies, as then the blue player would just simply take me out and I would get the third place anyways. So the best decision for me was to give up on Australia, moving to the fairest territory from the bot, and hoping that the way to get out will be made for me. One of the armies which bot left next to me was only of 21 troops, so I could totally take it down and get to the safe place. From then I knew that the blue player will be the one who gets the third place no matter what he does, especially after the bot fortified one of its armies which was threatening me next to him. I knew that was it, that I have guaranteed second place, and I was right. Soon enough the orange bot took the blue player out. I still wasn't sure if I managed to deal with bot though, since it was so much stronger. But I tried my best every turn. I was attacking as much as bot stuff as I can, without completely destroying myself. And after many tiring turns, I finally prevailed. I couldn't be more happy because that was it. It was the game with which I reached the Grandmaster rank. I reached the Grandmaster rank in 24 games playing 4-player fixed card games with only 2 losses. And I consider it as the best Risk achievement in my whole Risk career so far. I'm not totally sure, but I think it can be very likely that nobody has ever reached the Grandmaster rank in 24 games or less yet.